Assalamu alaikum. I'm Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. I wanted to bring my love and joy and support to Islamic Relief during this Ramadan season. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you.
Let us salute Islamic Relief USA for living up to the calling of this holy month, helping local organizations, providing food security, health care, and financial assistance to struggling communities and resettled refugees.
Our Muslim American community has been on the front lines in Florida's 9th Congressional District and other areas of the nation to help us recover.
I'm grateful for all the work they are doing in my district and around the world.
Islamic Relief USA is constantly working together for a better world.
Your charitable efforts to help reduce hunger, educate refugees, and assist survivors of domestic abuse embody the noble values that are honored in Ramadan.
Your work to put the Muslim values of community and charity into action has helped not only provide food, but also healthcare, financial assistance, and many more hit hardest by this pandemic.
Islamic Relief USA and the Muslim American community in my district have lived those values to the fullest these last 2 years.
Thank you to Islamic Relief USA for the work you do to lift the voices of Muslims all around the world.
As we continue to fight for a more just and more tolerant world, I am honored to be your partner in Congress.
It's this community care that binds us as a global human family.
We are better for all that you have contributed and the difference that you make.
I wish you and all of my Muslim brothers and sisters a blessed month of peace and spiritual renewal.
May peace and love be brought upon you. Ramadan Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. This is your host, Preacher Marcy, SOS. Listen, I've had a really, really good Friday. Just so you know, fasting and things like that. So I seem a little bit slow. It's just one of those days. I really had a good time at Juma today. And let me tell you why I had a good time at Juma today. The Khatib got up and he spoke for 45 minutes in nothing but Arabic. Now he can look at my eyes and a couple other people's eyes and we were like, we have no idea what you're talking about. In fact, he stopped and put his hand out like, you know what I mean? We were like, no, we have no idea what you're talking about. We haven't known for quite a long time. And the funny part was he felt that he was in the groove, and I appreciate it because he was talking about Ramadan and he was referencing the Quran. Now you can pick up some tidbits. You don't have to be an Islamic scholar or Arabic scholar. You can pick up some tidbits and you can figure out some things. But what I thought was really, really interesting is that those of us who could not speak Arabic, we began almost self-reflecting, if you will, just about the mercy of this month. Now, when I think about Ramadan, a lot of times people go, what does that mean to you? It's like, man, there was a time there was no Ramadan. There was no 5 prayers a day. And, I'm not saying, it's a miracle that preach praise. It's not. And it might scare some people that I do. But it was this scope that you could find this value in this new direction. When we talk about Jews 14 today, it's largely, if I could surmise it, it's largely about divine guidance, what we do with it. You take it in, you reject it. It's very, very pragmatic, cut and dry, and almost didactic to the point. If you're the reader, it's telling you literally, this is the way to go. But the joy at Juma today was we all sat there, irrespective of the Khatib speaking in Arabic the whole time. And we knew that as he was talking about the Quran, that we all had this whole idea about guidance. That many of us are bought to this book. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I made a video of it. I didn't put it up because it's funny. Because this masjid actually was a former car dealership. And so when I walked in, they had like the bay for where you would take your car in for repairs. And I'm like, Muslims will put a masjid anywhere. And so while I'm there trying to get my religious supplement in, I keep thinking, maybe I should get myself financed for a new car. But I kept doing I had to. I didn't understand English. But what I appreciated was the fact that here we are having yet another Ramadan. And I start going back to some of the people who are no longer here and the Ramadans that we had and the struggles that we would go through. You know, I always talk about my brother Bilal. Bilal and I were in South Central LA, right? And essentially what happened was we were supposed to go to somebody's house for iftar. We rolled up in the neighborhood. We were like, I don't know if this is where we're gonna go. Because we went South Central LA, you know, the Rolling Crips and the Hoovers and all of that. And I was like, you know, we could probably get shot going up here talking about Ramadan Mubarak. Where's the iftar? So he was like, no problem, no problem. He said, I got this dude. He was a young guy. I think he was a former gangbanger. I didn't read all of his tattoos. I didn't read his neck. Essentially, he was like, man, I got you. You know how it's like when cats are like thuggish, but they thuggish because they're tied to the Quran. It's funny. He said, yo, I got you, man. My people are on the street. And I looked to Ahmad. I was like, Ahmad, his people are on the street. I said, I don't think that's. I said, who? I said, are your people Muslim? He said, no, but they my soldiers. I said, Ahmad, I think we ought to break fast at McDonald's and get some salads. But the brother's like, no, brother, you ain't going nowhere. And so he's like, follow me. And as we're following this brother, I'm like, Ma, is your verification up to date for your black belt? He was like a sixth degree black belt. I was like, because I don't know. And I knew it was going to be a part of the problem because he said, my man got it. And he goes, there's my man right there. And he was a midget and he was carrying a 12 pack of soda. But he was a strong midget. Shut up, Satana. This is my story. But he was a strong midget. And I'm like, sure, I don't want to disrespect him as a midget because the sodas are really close to the ground. Ahmad's like, shut up before you get us hurt. And that's it. Okay. It was a Saturday. And this brother's like, we got plenty of food for the Muslims, da da da. And he was a young Muslim. And I never forget. We were late for iftar. It's got to be like 40 minutes. This is when you start eating stuff out of your ashtray, old candy, stuff like that, trying to break it fast. Okay. The brother's like, we ready to eat. We got y'all, because he was calling on his phone. They brought over a plate of hot, steaming pork barbecue ribs. And I'm like, Ahmad, you know we can't do this. And Ahmad's like, you know, we with the Crips. You don't want to, disrespect them. I was like, Ahmad, this is not disrespect. We can't eat it. And so we called the young brother over. He was with the midget. I was like, lead the midget. So he goes, so what's up, brother? Y'all ain't eating. I said, look, bro, you know, this looks good, but you know, we have dietary, we Muslim. And he goes, yeah. I said, those barbecue ribs are pork. And he goes, man, I'm sorry about that. He said, but you know what? In the Quran, it says, if you ain't got no halal food around, you should just go ahead and eat that. I was like, dude, that is a totally different interpretation than these pork ribs. I was like, I'm going to go get a salad. And the funny part was, we sat there and we explained to these guys, this is the protocol for Ramadan. I died it. And it was really cool. This dude was like, no problem. And dude was like, I'll be right back. And he came back with big old salad and all kinds of stuff. They actually went to a halal restaurant. I don't know how to get the food so quick. I'm like, did y'all hold this joint up? But they came back with this food and, you know, we had chicken. And ironically, up to the point Ahmad passed away, that every once in a while we would look for those guys. We would see them in Masjid al-Rabah on Crenshaw, and we would see these guys and we would laugh about this whole thing. And it leads me into what I'm talking about now, about this whole thing about divine guidance. Because as much as I'm laughing and I'm telling this story, and I don't think the midget took shahada, but my thing is this: from where that brother was to where he was at that particular time is amazing. You see what I'm saying? It's amazing because he was still, to me, you know, he was still a part of that life a little bit, if you will. And we didn't get into the particulars of that. We told the brother we're going to pray for him, and we worked with him throughout the years. And he finally did get out of the game. But my point was, he was so filled up with being Muslim and Ramadan that it was crazy. And then some of the guys who we're not Muslim. Like, I'm gonna try fasting because they were like, yo, this, there were all these implications, and I'm like, there's blessings. I'm sure there's blessings, man, if you fast for the right reason. And so I thought about that today as I'm sitting here, listening to this imam go all off, and in fact, they had a person who took Shahada today, and I'm like, finally, some English. And they go, do we have anybody that speaks French? He doesn't speak English. I'm like, I'm 0 for 2 in the English department today. And the brother, it was interesting. They had a French guy and an Arab guy, with 2 French guys, an Arab guy, trying to do this Shahada. I was like, I feel like I'm on a reality TV show. But yeah, thank you. Only thing that could have made it better is if a midget walked through with a 12-pack of soda. Okay, so Satana, we are going to roll. We got a great show today. I have a video I want to introduce. It just came out. Native Dean, one of my favorite groups, Naeem Joshua and Abdul Malik, great brothers. If you ever check this stuff out, go to their website, nativedean.com. Let's go ahead and throw it up, Satana. Where do you win?
Juma Mubarakah, celebrate along with us. Hope you have a blessed Friday. Juma Mubarakah, come jump in the car with us. Juma prayer is right around the way.
Good morning to my little darling. You may fudge but Juma prayers calling. So quit stalling, time to get sparkling. Go so fresh when your best, so to cap all in. Now you're in a rush, trying to see your Juma crush. If it's mom and dad are there, maybe I should set it up. But it's Juma, put your focus on Allah. And we can't be late for the Adhan. We're rolling out, come along. We're almost there, come along. Hey look, we made it, y'all. It's gonna be a very fine day. Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah.
Nice clothes on, nice kufi on, nice clown on, so you know it's on. I entered the masjid way before time. Volunteer to make sure everything's fine. Greet the people, make their smiles match mine. After that, I'm at the front to find space in the line. Got to make my sunnah before the khatib steps to the microphone and he's ready to speak. And he says, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Yeah, you bad. I don't know what you said, but you said a whole lot. So Akima Salat.
Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah.
Oh Allah, our community is blessed. Sisters, brothers, respected guests. Love seeing the young people who will lead us next.
Straighten the lines, fill in the gaps. Turn off your phone, silence your apps. Pray this prayer as if it's your last.
Salam, shake the brother's hands to the left and right of me. Imam, help me understand. I felt that he guided me. The plan, not to skip the jam. Take too soon as ought to be fine. Gotta meet the fam, they waiting outside for me. Check the wallet, first it up inside the box. In the market, check out what the vendors they got. I think they started the food, so grab a plate when it's hot. We know that God is blessing every tick on the clock. No double parking, Imam said we should trust that. There's blessings in the footsteps, even when we rush back. And towards the end of the day, there's a moment in time on this blessed Friday. Every prayer he responds. So as the day moves along, let me hear you say
Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. It's a special day, everybody say Juma Mubarakah, Juma Mubarakah. Hey, it's Friday, let the blessings of Juma come my way. Hey, it's Friday, let the blessings of Juma come my way. Hey, it's Friday. Let the blessings of Juma come my way.
All right, shout out to Native Dean with Juma Mubaraka. They need to get another steering wheel because that's they were driving in the United States and then they were driving in the UK. All they need to do is have the midget behind the steering wheel, and it's been okay. That's wrong. Shout out to those brothers, love them, and hey, guess what? Josh, Naeem, and Avmalik, the Tavares called and said they want their dance steps back. So I had to Disco Inferno. All right, I had to. I'm out of pocket, so please forgive me. So listen, let's go ahead. We have this different format today, just because Sultana's trying to hold it down for me because I'm not 100%. Let's go ahead and get our people in. Who've been in the box patiently. We want to give a shout out to Sister Ree. What's going on, Sister Ree? Hello to you, family, you, Derek, and of course, Juwan. Hope everything's going well. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for responding to my Friday reminder today. It's for everybody. All right. Good to see you in the house. Next up, my main man, Bilal Salahuddin, and of course, my sister, Sonia Dalton Salahuddin, the family. Glad to see you guys here on the spot. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And of course, Juma Mubarak to you. Nice to see you. Next up, my main man, Altaf Rashid, better known as Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, the Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show, the only show that has an ambassador. And he comes here faithfully. We appreciate you, brother. Ramadan Mubarak. And of course, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a pleasure to have everybody on the show today. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Next up, we got Sister Satana, our consultant producer, who's working at 1 and 2. Sister Satana, how did everything... Well, I won't ask, but I was wondering. I was trying to find out, if you took any videos of yesterday's iftar with the seniors. I would love to see that, or maybe some videos. I'm hoping you did. I mean, I took videos of the masjid that was a converted car dealership, but I'll put that up there later when I'm feeling better. Okay, so let me get to my point here because our time is moving. What I was talking about funny Ramadan story is the fact that we're all in this space struggling. I think, funny Ramadan story, you're not a Muslim, like a true Muslim, till you get of age and you find yourself iftar hopping. Let me tell you what iftar hopping is. That's when you go to iftar and you go, the menu is not exactly what you want. So you get back in your car and you go to another iftar. Now, iftar chasing is different. Iftar chasing is when you go to a place and there really is no iftar. It's like a warm-up. You got dates and that's it. Dates and a lot of imagination. Like you're going to have a date and then you're going to have another date and imagine that it's a piece of chicken. That's called delusion, and that comes from not actually breaking fast. But here's the wonderful part, though. That so many people are actually tuned into the fact that Muslims around the world are actually going through Ramadan. A couple of years ago, the idea of fasting was different. Then you got into this whole thing of intermittent fasting and things like that. I intermittently fast. I'm like, we can't go from 8 to 10, then eat, then go. No, we go all day long. I'm like, that's just the beginning. The food is just the beginning of the things you can't do. But it's nice to see that people are at least acknowledging what this religious practice is and what this religious expression is. I saw a copy, I think it was Instagram, or somebody sent me a picture of Muslims actually praying in Times Square. I'm like, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. I don't know who came up with it. Of course, it's part of it's like, hey, we're praying, but we want everybody to know about Islam and things like that. And I understand that. Myself, I'm old school, man. a fast is really, really personal to me. Like I generally don't go around to people and go, I'm fasting. Like when I worked, I wouldn't tell people I was fasting. Or even when I had like 2 jobs and one of them was working at a gym and I was playing rec ball. That was my first Ramadan was the worst, brothers and sisters, because I didn't know that you had to break fast right when the sun went down. So I was checking seeing the sun and I have a soda, but I would never really do a meal. Long story short, my first Ramadan, I lost approximately 27.5 pounds. And my mother and my grandmother were worried. They were like, he says it's Islam, he's a Muslim. They were like, that boy on heroin. That boy's on heroin. And my grandmother was like, let me remove that spoon. Whatever did, she's like, let me take that spoon from you, baby. I'm like, Grandma, I'm not going to shoot up at the table. But it's funny because as I got older and, unfortunately with her dementia, there's certain things she would remember. And she remembered a little bit about Ramadan and things like that. And I've had great experiences breaking meals with people. My favorite Ramadan story is literally Adams Morgan. It was Adams Morgan, and I'm waiting to break fast. In fact, my man, he's not here. Mark Kennedy, Jelani Locks. I'm waiting on him at Adams Morgan. We at this pizza shop, and they would give these big pieces of pizza, like you had to have 2 plates under it. And a guy came in and asked for some money, and I was like, well, what do you want to, I was like, what do you want? He goes, whatever you got. And I was like, he was like, can I get 4 quarters? And I was like, why don't you just say $1? He's like, I just need 4 quarters. I'm like, you're kind of messing up your marketing pitch when you're asking. You don't want people to do math. Long story short, I gave him a big piece of pizza and he was shocked, like, oh my gosh. And he was like, you're not going to eat? And that was the only time I really told him. I was like, well, I can't eat because I'm fasting. And he goes, oh, so you can't eat? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm expecting the joke. And he goes, well, he closes the box and he goes, well, I'm going to wait till you finish. And we sat on the side of this pizza spot in Adams Morgan and ate pizza. And for a couple of years, I was able to keep in touch with him when I would come through town. I'd be on that side of town. But it was interesting. We would salute each other. You fasting? Yes, sir. But let me tie this into what we were saying before. Just a whole blessing of divine guidance. When you read Jude 14, the reflection is really, really simple because the reflection is on you. You have a choice. You have a choice to follow a divine script or whatever it is you think is going to get you to the promised land, if you will. We literally have example upon example upon example, people who reject this knowledge, reject this scholarship, and expect for something to come through that will be better. And there's nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better. We talk about behavior. I was talking about it today in my I find a reminder, and I said, I'm trying to be a little bit more progressive with when I make a decision. I'm really trying to look about how my decision affects other people. Like I want that skill to be increased, that I can understand how my actions affect somebody else. And it's really falling from, the first principle thing we talked about yesterday. Like when you see a tree, you see leaves and buds, but everybody knows that the business of the tree is under the ground, the roots and the soil, all the things that you can't see. And so I'm trying to get into that space where we can, at least I can, and hopefully some of us will take that plunge so we can kind of open up that space. So over and over and over again, brothers, this is a theme. It is a recurring theme that you have an option. You have an option. You have an opportunity to look at this book, the Holy Quran, look at Hadith, look at all these things, look at Sunnah, and understand that these are proofs for a successful life. In the Imam Muhammad community, we talk about successful community life. These are the bedrock for a successful community life. So what I would suggest, you get a chance, read Jude 14 on your own. Normally I give an interpretation. I have done that, but read it on your own and experience the power of what they're talking about. Okay. So listen, that's our show. And I want to make sure everybody knows that we have a special guest tomorrow on our spotlight. You guessed it, Nader Khan. He's going to be coming on talking about Islamic spiritual music. I'm going to ask him what the inspiration for that is and how he got into it. If you want to know what you saw with Native Dean, it's called an nasheed, and he does nasheeds too. So I will help everybody who will join us tomorrow. You know what time it's going to be. It's going to be 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 5 o'clock Central, and it's going to be 3 o'clock on the West Coast. So please join us for what I think is a very, very interesting and long-ranging conversation about spiritual music from a spiritual guy. We're going to rock out a little bit. I'm going to let everybody check out his song, Anthem for the Prophet. I don't think we have anything else. Oh, I do want to give some shouts out, of course, to Islamic Relief. We appreciate you. But I also want to give a shout out to, I bet Rock, I want to give a shout out to BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Can we put them up? Yeah, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Call 202-508-3780. Again, that's 202-508-3780. Also want to give a shout out to ushub.tv. Again, that's ushub.tv. And I don't want to be loosey-goosey. I'm going to give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. You can go to bayanonline.org. Again, that's bayanonline.org. And who can forget the wildly famous, don't get the COVID, shout outs to my man Ijaz Siad over at Convenient Urgent Care with 3 locations in Houston, Houston on Park Road, Cypress, and Pasadena. Listen, that's our show today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful Friday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
صلي ربي على النبي شفيعنا أحمد صلي ربي على النبي مولانا محمد صلي ربي على النبي شفيعنا أحمد صلي ربي على النبي مولانا محمد صلي ربي على النبي شفيعنا أحمد صلي ربي على النبي مولانا محمد. The people that in darkness dwell a glorious light have seen. Oh, God's prophet now to them has come, Muhammad al-Amin. Salli, salli, Rabbi ala nabi shafi'ina Ahmad. Salli, Rabbi ala nabi maulana Muhammad. We hail thee, Allah's prophet true, of prophecy the seal. Oh, we read with reverence the book thou was sent to reveal. Salli, salli, Rabbi ala nabi shafi'ina Ahmad. Oh, salli Rabbi ala nabi maulana Muhammad. For thou the burden didst remove, idolatries fell